They're the biggest crime stories of our times. The real-life whodunits that inspired made-for-TV movies and major motion pictures. Hijacked. Kidnapped. Vanished without a trace.
I knew instantly that she had been murdered.
For the next 2 hours, we'll investigate 20 of the most mysterious misdeeds of the last 75 years.
We have lost a child here.
Robberies, poisonings, and murders. Unsettling and unexplained.
Maybe this is a guy that has something to hide.
From old cold cases to breaking news, we're counting down the 20 most shocking unsolved crimes.
I knew something was terribly wrong, and it all spiraled down into hell from there.
A trip to the mall, an innocent request, and a gruesome homicide. Shocking unsolved crime number 20 is the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh.
The disappearance of that little boy, just 6 years old at the time, struck the American heart like no other, and the issue of missing children has never been the same.
On July 27, 1981, Reve Walsh took her 6-year-old son Adam to the Hollywood, Florida mall. She needed a lamp.
Adam asked her if he could watch 2 sets of boys play video games. Video games were brand new. There was a model video game there, just like kids do now, to look at the newest games. We called him the little gentleman. He asked his mom, "Can I stay here and watch these boys?"
It was the last time his mother saw him alive. When Reve returned to the toy department, Adam was nowhere to be found.
No one helped Reve look for Adam. They told her to go to customer service. Reve started the search, the most painful 2 weeks that you can ever imagine, looking for that little boy. She called the police immediately. Took them forever to respond. I came from my office. I knew something was terribly wrong, and it all spiraled down into hell from there.
Within hours, 50 police officers and 100 volunteers were scouring every square inch of Hollywood, Florida, in cars, boats, and helicopters. But Adam had vanished, kidnapped in plain sight.
We just appreciate anything that anyone could give us any information on.
You should be here with us. Adam Walsh's case brought home that your child, the thing you love the most, can be taken in a flash even at the local mall.
Posters were plastered across South Florida. The boys' distraught parents, John and Reve Walsh, offered a $100,000 reward for Adam's return.
I started to get that gut feeling that they were overwhelmed. We designed the first missing child poster with a profile and a front picture and a name and a weight. We just were desperate to get the word out about Adam, because after the first couple days, he wasn't even a big story anymore.
2 weeks later, on August 11th, John and Reve begged for their son's life on national television.
That was the worst day of our lives. That was the day after Good Morning America that they called us up and told us that the remains of a little boy had been found in a canal, and those remains were Adam.
2 fishermen discovered Adam's severed head.
I don't know who would do this to a 6-year-old child. I can't conceive of it.
But police were unable to find any clues pointing to Adam's killer. Over the years, countless suspects emerged, yet few proved credible. Even serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was interviewed about the case in 1991.
There was another suspect.
John Walsh was certain his son's killer was a convicted mass murderer named Otis Toole, who died in prison in 1996.
I believe, and so do I think the vast majority of people who've really looked into Adam's case, that Otis Toole got away with Adam's murder. Hopefully there is justice in the next life, and he'll burn in hell for eternity for killing that little boy.
After Adam's death, John Walsh's life mission became clear. He quit his job as a hotel executive and tirelessly lobbied Congress for the formation of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The agency was established in 1982.
The National Center was born with 2 primary missions. One was to reunite families, to bring missing children home, and to keep children safe from sexual exploitation and victimization.
But John Walsh was far from done. In 1988, he began hosting America's Most Wanted.
He has been an icon in the crime and justice field for many, many years.
To date, Walsh has helped bring nearly 1,000 fugitives to justice.
It's now been more than a quarter century since his little boy was abducted and brutally murdered. And he's never lost any of that intensity.
On the 25th anniversary of Adam's abduction, President George W. Bush signed the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act into law.
This law makes an important step forward in this country's efforts to protect those who cannot protect themselves.
The Adam Walsh Act makes the failure to be compliant with the sex offender registry obligation a federal felony.
It's a great piece of legislation. We had the honor of having President Bush sign it on July 27th, the 25th anniversary of Adam's disappearance.
There was bigger news ahead. In December 2008, Hollywood, Florida police identified Adam Walsh's killer. Cops said circumstantial evidence finally proved overwhelming.
It is our determination and conclusion that Otis Poole was the abductor and murderer of Adam Walsh.
Although Adam's body has never been found, the case is now closed.
The not knowing has been a torture, but that journey's over.
He pioneered an entire musical genre. He was called the John Lennon of rap. And like Lennon, he was taken down by a gunman's bullet. Shocking unsolved crime number 19 is the murder of Jam Master Jay.
When you think of Jam Master Jay, you think of a father, a husband, a pioneer, a legend.
Jam Master Jay was born Jason Mizell in Queens, New York in 1965. He first achieved fame in 1986, manning the turntables on Run DMC's crossover hit, Walk This Way.
The DJ used to just be a guy that played a record. Jay knocked that wall down where the DJ is actually part of the group.
After the meteoric rise of Run DMC, Jay became a revered rap record producer. The DJ stayed close to his roots.
Hip-hop was always the best music and the best form, my only form of lifestyle.
Jam Master Jay wasn't one of these guys that has big success and that leaves the neighborhood and you never see him again. He was a man of the people. He was right there in the mix.
Jay was one of the strongest voices against the violence in rap culture.
Their music certainly didn't reflect a lot of the violence that the other artists involved in the East Coast-West Coast rivalry had permeating throughout their music.
He was seen as a peacemaker to most, but not all. On the night of October 30th, 2002, Jay was in his Jamaica, Queens recording studio with a couple of friends.
They were recording some beats when they got a knock at the door. One of the women inside of the studio opened the door and two gunmen burst in.
Both brandished handguns. One of them ordered everyone in the room to hit the floor. The other shot Jay point blank in the head with a .40 caliber pistol. The 37-year-old music trailblazer died instantly, inexplicably murdered in cold blood. 2,300 people came out for Jam Master Jay's funeral.
What hurt so much is the fact that somebody knew who he was, knew how much he meant to everybody, and still did him like that. Heroes are not exempt from being victims of our sickness with violence.
Despite all the attention in the weeks after the murder, the investigation stalled.
People that witnessed Jam Master Jay's murder probably don't want to talk about it for whatever reason, whether that's fear of retaliation, or that's code of the streets.
There's very little protection for witnesses. Everybody knows that.
In this particular case, you have eyewitnesses that saw the perpetrator, so you need their cooperation to really present a case to the grand jury and even to arrest someone.
To date, police have made no arrests. Coming up, a crazed serial killer terrorizes a nation, and a teenager's vacation causes an international incident.
I did not get the destination. I did not do my homework.